Jane Howard joins us now from London. She is the head of communications, advocacy and marketing at the WFP UK office. Thanks so much for being with us. I mean, congratulations are in order, really. I mean, you weren't favored as a front runner, but here you are. So what message do you really want this to send about how important the work of the World Food Programme really is?
Well, thank you for having me. Yes, it's a huge honor, and we feel very humbled. But at the same time, the message I would like to give is it really is recognition for all my colleagues who are putting their lives on the line, working in the most incredibly tough kind of places, sometimes conflict zones, very, very remote areas. They work in floods, they work in droughts, and really that's the first thing. Of course, that's how it feels to us as staff members. But then I think it's so important too that this shines a spotlight on the hungry people of the world who are really, every day, especially now with the pandemic, the numbers, I'm afraid, are going up. And the main driver has been conflict. It's so many conflict zones. We're feeding 12 million people a month in Yemen. These are absolutely massive numbers, and I'm afraid in recent years, just the last 5 or 6 years, we've seen the progress that we were making has started to go into reverse.
Right. I mean, it's to say you've been rewarded so far for the challenges you've faced and triumphed over as best you could, but some people say your work is really just beginning, given what the fallout from the pandemic is going to be, the ongoing conflicts. What do you see really as the biggest challenges that your agency is going to have to face in the coming years?
I think if we look at the really long term, there are three things that jump out. One is conflict. As I was saying, probably 60% of the world's hungry are living in countries which are in the middle of a conflict. And it takes a long time to pull out of that. Even when the conflict finishes, you can lapse back into it. And so we've been taking a long, hard look, I think, at the fact that everybody realizes why, you have to leave your home, you have to flee your village if there's fighting, if there's violence. But we're also looking at how we can contribute, I think, to making more stability in the world. If we could iron out some of those inequalities and make sure people could just get food on the table every day, then that would be a huge step forward in the long term. The two other big factors, though, are climate change, because we've just seen extreme weather, unpredictable weather, more floods, more droughts, longer lasting ones, just crazy weather. That means farmers don't know whether they're coming or going. And I think that again needs a longer term solution. And then the pandemic is probably something else, because it's not so much the virus that is really having the worst impact. It's the consequences if you can't go out to work. It's the economic consequences and socioeconomic consequences. So sometimes if it's a lockdown and you're a day labourer, you can't go out in your taxi, you can't go sell your sell your wares on the street, so that at the end of the day, you just can't afford to go to the shop and buy food for your family. You might be relying on remittances sent from relatives working abroad. And I do think that is one of the things that's confronting us in 2020, is that fear that that if our traditional donors, we get amazing help from countries like the US, UK, Germany. Those are our three biggest donors, but many people contribute because we're entirely voluntarily funded, funded by voluntary contributions, private sector, individual donors. But if everybody is worrying about their paycheck and whether they'll be thrown out of a job, then clearly that is a massive challenge. But I think that eventually, the economy will recover, but then we will still be left if we can't find peace. We're not going to end hunger in the world if we can't reduce some of these conflicts and find peace agreements.
Right. Jane Howard, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for being with us from London. And again, congratulations.
Thank you.